Here we've got the legend Hans Zimmer from Synapse Audio, and I picked this up immediately. I saw it because, well, I've got the legend, and you may have seen my Mini Moog shoot out a load of VSTs that I put up against each other a couple of years ago now. And I'd never heard of the legend, I'd never heard of Synapse Audio, and I just picked it up to see what it was like because it was new at the time, and it won. So I know the sounds on this are going to be impeccable. Why on earth did I pick it up? Well, really, because it does really remind me of one of those huge modular systems that he's got in the background of all his photos, and I've played with a couple of those. Not his ones in particular, but things like the Analog Solutions Colossus that was lent for a while. They're really fun to play with. You can disappear in them for months on end. And this has got so many modulation options and the 6 oscillators that it just really reminded me, as I say, of something like that. So just a quick run through of what you got on the front here. We've got 6 oscillators. And if we take this section out here, 4, 5, and 6, we've basically got a Mini Moog. Oscillator 1, 2, and 3. And oscillator 3 can be used as a modulation source, and that's exactly the same as 4, 5, and 6. Then we've got the mixer, and this has obviously got 6 volume knobs, plus noise, got an option of pink and white, just like you got on the Mini Moog. We've got a drive circuit, and we've got this feedback circuit, which is the old trick people used to do on the Mini Moog by taking the headphones out and putting it back into the audio input to feedback, to make it sound fatter and juicier. Just have a listen. Just take that envelope off. Take the glide off. So here's the drive, then some feedback, just for whack the resonance up. Get really fat, nasty tones. We take the feedback and the drive off. These don't sound exactly like my Mini Moog, but they're incredibly hard to get spot on. I think they take up so much processing power, but they have a really nice effect on the sound. So no complaints there. Then we've got the typical Mini Moog filter, but we've got a 12 dB option, and we've also got a bandpass option. Key tracking, 1/3, 2/3, or whole. Again, just like the Mini Moog. And then we've got 2 full-on ADSR envelopes, rather than the Mini Moog simpler ADS circuits where the decay time is the same as the release time. So that's the main sound engine. On the top, we've got glide. Let's put a better sound on. Let's take it off bandpass. You've got your mod mix knob, again, just like the Mini Moog, where you can blend between oscillator 3 and noise. And then you turn filter or oscillator modulation on or off with these switches here. On the Mini Moog, you've got them next to the filter and next to the oscillators. So if you want a Mini Moog, you've got a Mini Moog. But then we've got all these extras as well. So extras being, number 1, polyphony, unison, detune, spread. Well, that's more than number 1, isn't it? And then we've got a big modulation matrix across the bottom. Click here, and then we can see we've got a sequencer and ARP as well. And then flick it over. On the top here, we've got these simulation options, and they just fine-tune things like the oscillator's phase and the key tracking amount. Most important here, a low sync, which syncs oscillator 3 to the tempo, and then drifts to give it more of a vintage knackered feel. On the top left here, we've got different poly modes. It'll cycle through your voices or play the last voice. Mono modes, whether it's legato or retrigger. A late Mini Moog and an earlier Mini Moog. The earlier Mini Moogs use different oscillators and things, so there are minor differences there. Won't go into those in here though, because this isn't really a Mini Moog, and we all know how good this sounds anyway. If we open here, we go into the sound banks. It's this one. Just trying to find something really simple. But as you do it, you just start to hear all these lovely tones. Let's go to this one, Model A. So is that a different mode? So that's on the early mode, on the late. As I say, very, very subtle. Anyway, let's go back to the synth page. Let's take the resonance off. And let's put them both on the sawtooth. Nice, isn't it? And let's just map a couple of these knobs. So on the Mac, it's Control and click. MIDI line, I'll wiggle this. And for the resonance, I'll wiggle this one. There we go. I'm using an Arturia Keystep 37. It's super simple to do this, but there isn't an actual page that you see all the MIDI CCs in. If we come back into here, back into the sound banks, go to the menu. Can't find one, but you don't really need one. The one thing I haven't touched on yet is this MSEG at the top, and this is like a complex LFO. Just load a patch using it. Let's load this one. We can see down in the modulation matrix, so I've not really showed the modulation matrix yet, but here are all the sources. So LFOs, arpeggiator parameters, and this MSEG 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 of them on here. This patch is using 2 of them. If we look at what we've got on this, let's turn these off. So 3 and 2 are using MSEG 2. And 1 is using MSEG 1. If we look at MSEG 2, let's keep it to the beat. And we can adjust those curves. And we can add points, just double click. So super, super flexible. Load this one in. So you can see there, they've all got individual rates. And we can sync them to your DAW like they were, or we can just put them on seconds. And maybe now you can start to see why it reminds me of one of those big modular systems. And let's go to the back page, because this has got these modular style effects as well. The fixed filter bank, if I bring in just a standard bass again. What a filter bank does, it's basically like a graphic EQ, but it really does cut out all the frequencies. I'll show you what I mean. With everything down, you get absolutely nothing. So you get really precise control. And of course, like on a big modular system, you can modulate each of these independently. Let's do that. Let's go to LFO, let's say oscillator 3, and let's modulate the fixed filter bank 1.4K. If we just go around the back, oscillator 3 is on low, and that's what's modulating it. Then come back here, it is on sync. So yeah, like I say, very much like a big modular system in that you can modulate pretty much anything on here. Phaser width, is that on there? Let's try that. Oscillator 3 again. Phaser width, there it is. Put the phaser on, eh? So you can imagine this being full of patch points and cables and looking extremely scary, but with the modulation matrix, it just makes it into a really simplified way of accessing all those wonderful tones. And if we come into effects, this really brought it home to me. That's called Bat Impact, and I just wonder if it's the sort of thing you used on Batman. If we go through a few of these are just amazing. Maybe not that one. All very cinematic. You can imagine these all over his movies, can't you? They also show the quality of the reverb, I think. If we look at this one, it's using the sequencer. ARP's on up there. We've got a single shot. Let's put another one on. And these parameters here can be used, as we saw a little bit earlier, as modulation sources as well. Go to the modulation. ARP parameter 1. We'll put that onto the cutoff. Turn it up with no idea what this is going to do. It's going to do that. Again, this one's using the ARP. Come to the sequencer. Let's speed that up. That Dune helicopter. Green face, we heard that one. Let's try this. Looks a bit wild. Very modular. With 3 complex envelopes. And I'll stop playing that in case a sandworm does actually come and get me. Okay then, let's take a look at some pads and stuff, shall we? Because it does have pads in it. It's not just a monosynth. And all these are just gorgeous. Just giving you a really brief feel for what it does. Drums, we've got some quite useful drums in here as well. Nice ways of demonstrating actually how you create these things. Let's take the effects off. And there were some nice little hats and things as well. It really does have that modular feel. Chords. And that's obviously being created by just giving each of the oscillators a different note. Just looking at what's going on in there, there's a fair amount. Last thing I think I haven't really looked at is the detune, the spread and the polyphony. Just go into that really quickly again. So Unison, we've got 4 voices playing at the same time. Let's take the spread off. So we're spreading them left to right, we're spreading the different voices left to right. Adding detune. And then we've got 4-note poly. I'm playing 5 notes there, but you can't see 8-note, 12-note, and then mono. Take the effects off. So spread doesn't work in mono because we're only using one voice, but if we come back to one of the poly modes, so 4. As you play alternate voices, it's spreading them left and right. Really simple. If we come here and we put poly mode last, it's always playing on the same note the last voice it just played. And you can hear that there. We play a different voice. Just in case you're wondering what's happening if you're not getting the spread you're expecting. And the very last thing I wanted to show you was this genetics option. So open genetics, click on a few sounds, hit Command and click on a Mac. It adds them here, and then it generates a sound from them. That's the worst one it's done so far. That's hilarious. Let's go to the basses, or let's go to the keys. We've not tried any keys yet. So click a few of these. Generate. Try it again. It's doing its own there. Let's try some more. Let's add some warm bells and a rim shot. Generate. Generate again. And then you can save them, but it's just a really quick way of making some new sounds. Let's try a few of these. Generate. Oh, we can hear something happening. So save that one because it's nice. So there you have it, a whistle-stop tour of the Legend HZ. To me, it really does feel like a nice big Moog modular with a much improved interface, but with still an awful lot of patching you can do. Because don't forget, if this was a modular synth and it was patched to sound like it does on an initial patch, there'd probably be about 500 cables hanging out of it already. So a 12-slot modulation matrix on top of all that is very handy, and it's probably all you need. If you've already got the Legend, this was a €79 or $79, £69 upgrade. But if you don't, it's €179. Well worth checking out if you can. I know there isn't a demo on the site at the minute, which is why I've done this. But yeah, enjoy. And if you did enjoy that, do please subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon, all the rest of that sort of stuff. The channel is funded by YouTube ads, my affiliate links, and my wonderful patrons who get access to patches, samples, and little extras, all for the price of a dodgy lukewarm coffee a month. And it does help me to pick stuff up like this to demo to you in an unbiased way. Also do check out my starskycar.com website, again, patches to buy and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.